Okay, so I've got my new file that I'm going to now use to set out all of these hotel spaces. And you've got the PDF file that you can see here. I've got open with the existing floor plan. You can see there. That's page 3. And then you've got the proposed floor plan that has some dimensions. So we need to use both of those, even though we're going to be mainly using the existing floor plan. We need to use the proposed floor plan as well to get the dimensions. So the limitation with Revit is that you can't insert PDF files, of course. So we need to export, and I'll do this for you. So I'm going to export all of these sheets just as JPEGs. JPEGs are the easiest to work with in a way. So using Acrobat Pro, we can just go and export to JPEG, as you can see I'm doing there. And I'll just make sure that is, yep, that's on the P drive. So I'll make a folder called JPEG export. So that's going to create a JPEG file for every page in this file. So you can see it's doing that down there. Okay, so that should be done. And so now we've got the, what is it, the fourth page? Oh, sorry, not the fourth page. The third page we'll start with is the existing floor plan. And then the fifth page is the proposed. So back into Revit, I'll just start by going to Insert, Image on the Insert tab, and then Image, and then browse to find those files. And so I want the fifth one to start with, page 5. So I'll just click to place that, and then I need to find a figured dimension, in other words, a written dimension that I can read. So there's one there that should be fairly easy to read. The one you can see at the bottom there where it's 17,210 mil. So I've got the image selected, and I'm going to click Scale. And then I'm going to zoom right in and get the centre of that dimension line on the left. And then come over to the right and get the centre of the dimension on the other side. And then simply type in the measurement that it should be, which is 17,210. Enter. Okay, so that's, it did change slightly, so it's scaled it a little bit, and now you can always check that that's the right size by using the measure tool. I'm just going to measure between those two dimensions. So you can see there the measurement at the top, and that's easily within our tolerance, 17,200. Okay, so I've got that scaled to the size I want. And then I'm going to select that image just so that you can see the width and the height over in properties on the left there. Okay, so then I'm going to zoom out a bit further, so I've got some room, and then just go back on the Insert tab to Image again, and this time find page 3 and insert that. Right, so you can see then that the page is obviously a different size. So what I want to do now is make the second page the same size as the first page. So there's a different way of scaling essentially. So I've got the first one selected, and then I'm just going to go over and select the height there, and then use Control-C because we can't right-click there, so I need to use the shortcut on the keyboard, which is, again, Control-C. Then select the second image, and again, in Properties on the left, go to Height, select it, and then Control-V, and Enter. to paste that same height value in for this image. And so you can see now they're both the same size. Right, so you can see they line up, the two sheets. We drag them over here a bit closer, you can see that hopefully, and right, so we know that they're the same scale. Everything lines up pretty well, and so that's done. So maybe just to check something though, if we zoom in and maybe have a look at something that's common on both plans, we can check that measurement. So it looks like the entry here hasn't changed from the existing to the proposed. So that door there should be the same size. If I measure now the size of that door on the proposed floor plan, you can see it's 1825. And then on the existing floor plan, sort of make sure it's the same size. Right, 1825. And it's interesting, this might seem like a pretty basic thing, but I get so many comments about this on the YouTube channel, about scaling, and all these people trying to make it easier and going, oh, you're making it too complicated, making people use measurements and type in numbers, when you just do it the easy way, you just click points and it's done. It's like, well, I do comment back to them, you know, but if you want to work in design, it's not art. You're not drawing things by hand until they look right. You've got to make it the right measurement because someone else has to build this. And if you don't start off with the right sizes, then it's going to have to be fixed at some point. If it's not you, then someone else is going to have to do it. And it makes it easier for everyone. If you just spend some time getting the sizes right, and take your time with it until you're sure they are right, and it makes your job much easier, but again, everyone else's as well. So, but yeah, if you have a look on my YouTube channel, you'll see lots of people have issues with scaling, and it's a pretty fundamental thing in design, especially interior design, architecture, anything related. It's probably the most fundamental thing. So I've deleted the proposed floor plan now. We don't need that anymore. We just use that as a scaling tool. And now that I've done that, I've got my new existing floor plan, and that's all we need, because we're going to do a new design from the existing. And I'm now just dragging that so that it's in a better place for me to start drawing in this file. And that's done now. So you can see there I've got the reception near the middle. We're actually going to do one of these hotel rooms in a moment. But I've got that basic setup, and we can use this for all of the files. So now I'm going to go to Save As, but this time Project. And I'm going to save this so you can't get to it. You'll need to do this yourself. And so I'm just going to call it the name I'm going to give to the project, Tamar Valley Hotel Setup or something. Okay, so then, like I was saying, we can probably start with one of these hotel rooms. And, oh, actually, we also need the next floor plan. So this is good to set up the reception. But then we want the first floor to do the hotel rooms because we can't see them on this plan. So, again, I'm just going to click on Image and use the same method I just showed you. So I'm going to go and get the... Oh, go away what I can. I'm going to go and get the JPEG file that I've just saved for you. In that folder here, Tamar Valley, JPEG export. And I'll need to check which floor plan it is. So it's the first floor existing floor plan, which should be sheet number 4. Okay, so that's that one. So again, good chances to go over that method quickly. So again, placing it to the left. We know the one on the left is the right size, so if I select that, I can select the height there, that number, Control C, go to the second plan, select the height, Control V to paste, enter, and now it's the same size as the previous one. You need to find a measurement, so you've got to have a figured dimension. Yeah, that's right, and then use the scale tool. Okay, so So here I'm going to delete the existing ground floor and then take the first floor plan that I've just imported over to the middle there. And so maybe we're going to start with these rooms, which are the simplest, or just one of these rooms. So it is just that space, isn't it? Just the room and on the ensuite. Yeah. Easy, good stuff. Okay, so then maybe we want to put that in the centre. So just by dragging it, I can get that room to be in the middle there, so that we've got it with the 4 elevations pointing to it, and then the section line as well. And then, so that that's all saved, I'm just going to go to Save As, Project, and so this will be Tamar Valley Hotel Room 1, I suppose. Call it what you like. And then I can go in and straight away start drawing. So this will be really easy, but I'll just check that measurement. So what is it, 3? It probably is just cavity brickwork, but so it looks like it's about 300. So what I might do is duplicate that floor plan, just by right-clicking on the ground floor, duplicate with detailing. Rename that new view and call it ground floor image. And I'll go back to the original ground floor and delete the image from there. And then if I go back to the other copy of the ground floor, I've got that one still with the image there. I've got one with and then one without. And then back to architecture, and I'll just start by drawing some walls using that existing 300mm wall that I've already got set up from my template. I'll set the top to level 1. That way we don't need to know what the height is just yet. And I'll set the location line to finish face interior. And then I'm just going to go around and draw by tracing over these walls. Yep, that's it. We're not going to make we can rename the levels, but we don't need to make a new one. So, yep, that's fine. Okay, so here, I might take it past the corner there because we want to show the plan extending beyond the room to make it clear that this is a room that's just part of our building, not the whole thing.
So you put in the first floor was a big or there was a on the first floor?
So the
First floor next to it?
yeah. It's existing, yeah, existing. Yeah. Okay, so I've done a couple of walls there, and I'll then just switch over to the measuring tool and check this wall. So that's a party wall, so that won't be the same thickness as the exterior wall, so it looks like it's about 220, maybe 230. Yeah, I'd say it probably is 230. No, it looks like they've drawn it 220. Okay, so we'll do that. So again, so back to the wall tool, and I'll make well, we've got existing 230, so I will use that, and that's close enough anyway. So I'm just going to draw by tracing the plan by eye. And so you can probably safely assume that all of the bounding walls of your unit, of your hotel room, apart from the exterior walls, are going to be this thickness. So make sure you realise there should be at least 3 basic wall thicknesses. Do you know why you need 3 and not just 2? So why do you need different wall thicknesses? Yeah, that's right. That's the starting point. So you definitely need a different wall thickness for the exterior wall and then the interior wall. But then what about the walls between the units, between the hotel rooms? So they need to be different again. Yeah. So they're essentially party walls, that's right. So that's the 230 wall. So that's really important that you indicate that, those different thicknesses. So here for now, I'll just go past the built-ins and other things. We'll come back and fix those later. So you can see there it's tracing fairly well, but it's hard now to see through the walls to the plan underneath. There's a couple of simple tricks you can use there. If you start by setting the graphics to fine, then it takes off that solid hatch. But then you also need to set the visual style to wireframe to make it see-through. So that way I can now select this wall and just nudge it using the arrows to line it up properly with the inside of that wall that's there. And then I'll just continue drawing some more existing walls using the wall tool. And this time I will need to make a new wall type because I don't have an existing 100mm wall. So I'll just go in and click Edit Type, duplicate, give a new name, existing 100mm wall, existing 100mm, and then of course edit to change the structure to 100mm. And then I can just continue tracing from the corner of that wall to do the ensuite. And again, fine tune the wall placement as you need to. It might be 110, they might be brick walls throughout, but 100's close enough, I think, for now. So that's most of it done, but then, well, we can definitely put the doors in now as well, and maybe even the windows. So I'll then go use the door tool, and you can see we've just got that one door type loaded, which is not the best. So I'm going to go to Load Family, and then go to P Drive, Interior Design, and let's just see what's happening there. Who's done that? Sorry, I'll just get rid of that. Okay, so just going to the Revit library folder. And doors. And so there you can see there's one called CC, Single Flush, No Architrave. So that's a really plain door, but it's better than the ones that come with the program, because they're more American style doors, which aren't right for what we want to do. So again, CC, Single Flush, No Architrave, that's one I've made, which should work fairly well. And so then I'm just going to check the size. So over here in Properties, you can see the different sizes that are set up. I'm just going to choose this one, 813 by 2134. And it should fit in this opening here. We can always adjust it. And then the bathroom door is normally smaller. This one actually looks fairly large, so maybe I'll just use the same size, but they can be smaller. But that actually looks pretty right. So I'll stick with that. Okay, so I've done all this drawing in the view with my image inserted, but now if I go back to the original ground floor plan, of course, we can just see the Revit things. So you can see if you set it up in an efficient way, it takes no time at all to get a space like that drawn up. So maybe we'll just finish off the windows, and that's going to be most of it done. So for the windows, you don't really have much of an indication there what type of window they are, so you could start with a really basic one and then always change it later. So using the window tool, I might just actually stop and measure the size of that off the drawing. So yeah, it's about 2 metres, that one. So again, just using the window tool, we've got one loaded called M fixed. So I'm going to use that. We can go to edit type. Check the sizes that are loaded, and you can see there we don't have a 2 metre wide one. So I'm going to go to duplicate and make it 2000. And does anyone have any indication of the height of that window? Or the ceiling heights? Do you know what the ceiling heights in these rooms are? No. Roughly? No idea? No. Ah, it'll be on the drawings. Yeah. Yeah. You'd hope so. Yeah, at least. Yeah, that'd be sort of the minimum, you think. But okay, so we have some idea, then we can work out the window height. Yeah, okay, so they're probably about, let's say, 1.5 metres, and then if we've got a 1 metre sill, we should be right. So, okay, so let's say 2100 by 1500 for now. You can always adjust it, that's the great thing about Revit. So then I'll just change the height, of course, down below to 1500, and then the width to 2000. Yeah, 2000 by 15. 2000 wide, 1500 high. And then the default sill height, I'm going to change to, well, it's first floor, so we should really make that at least 1000. And that's it. So click OK, and then I can simply place that window there, making sure the cursor is closer to the outside of the wall. Okay, so this window then you can see has 3 panels, so we need to use a different window type for that. So I'm going to go to Load Family, and I'm not going to go to the special Revit library, I'm just going to go to the Windows folder there, and then find the 3-panel double hung. Should be alright. Yeah, so that's we're going to get started pretty quickly. Yeah. So, well, in probably 3 or 4 weeks we can stay on that. Yeah, yeah. So this one shouldn't take very long though. Especially the rooms themselves we get done pretty quickly. So? Oh, look, you can if you want to. Yep, yep, yep. Okay, so again, double hung 3L Oz is the one I'm using. Not 3LT, just 3L. We may need to change it to another one, but that's the closest I can find for now, so we'll go with that. And just choose the closest size you can find. So this one here, 2030 by 1810, is pretty close. But you can see there that's obviously too small, so I'm going to again use the measuring tool and check that size. So it's what, 2950. Pretty close to 3000, so I'm going to go back to the window tool and just round it off to 3000. So edit type, duplicate, and I'm going to make it 3000 again by just 1500 high, and change the width there to 3000 and the height to 1500. So don't worry that the rough width and the rough height are a little bit bigger, that's fine. And then just by eye place that window. The final thing there is I didn't check the sill height, so I'm going to select that window again there and just bring that sill height up to 1000. So now if I click on my 3D view, there we are. So I've got a very basic setup for that room. Yeah. That's how long it should take. To do a space like this, it is fairly easy. And so I'll give some time to try that, and if you've already done some of the setup, you can just continue on. But yeah, again, it's a good chance just to check your sizes and your basic setup.
Are you recording?